I think I'm quite lucky with this. Welcome to a new episode of Unobtained. Today we're gonna go visit a few different places in my world. Yes, there are a lot of different interesting terrain features in my world that I want to showcase. This will probably be a bit of a longer episode, so stick in it. So how I'm going to do this is to start with some more of the well-known ones, and slowly work my way up to the weird and wackier terrain generations. To start off with, I'm going back to spawn and show you this. Yeah, you have probably seen it in episode 1, and it are the floating islands of Indef. They are actually pretty cool, and how I generated these was via the Indef terrain generation options. It was actually possible to, besides generating mainland, also generate islands, or in this case, floating islands. And it's pretty cool. And if you pay close attention to it, you will also see that ores generate like diamond ore. And that's quite unique because normally diamond ore don't generate this high. They normally generate up to y equals 16. And this is way, way higher than. That nearly went wrong. Let's sleep. Oh no. No, I don't want my landscape to be ruined, like endermans have done damage enough. It of course also generates within the house, and if we get a look at it, as you may have seen, it generates with a whole lot of items and blocks. Like a ton of stuff where you could play around with in the in-depth version. And for the next one, I'm heading west. Because the west we have a bunch of alpha terrain, and it's pretty cool what we can find there. Some of you might know already what it is, because it's pretty well known. Not necessarily well known, but well known compared to the other discontinued terrain features. And what I'm speaking about is appearing right in front of us. And it's starting to appear. Yes, some of you may know, but these are the monoliths. And these monoliths appeared in alpha and earlier. So it's a bit hard to explain why this exactly happens, but Antvenom has made an amazing video talking about these.
This also answers once and for all why these used to generate in old versions of Minecraft to begin with. It's clear now that whatever part of old Minecraft that handled biome scale weight allowed itself to, under the right circumstances, have a negative value.
So definitely check out his video down in the description. Besides that, I want to talk about some features about the monoliths. One thing you might notice is that some land around the monolith is usually quite flat. It's noticeable here, but this doesn't always happen. This is something just that I noticed from experience. Besides that, it also caps at y equals 127, because that was the old height limit. Let me stack up for you to see how the monoliths look like from up top. So this is how monoliths look like from up top. It looks very flat, and something interesting about this specific monolith is that on the top we see a hole right here in the middle. And that's because for some reason that's not part of the monolith. That's just normal terrain generation in there. But how would a monolith look from the inside, or rather from the underside? Let's look how that looks like. So let me show you the inside. This is how it looks from under the monolith. And it's actually pretty cool. Like, it generates a giant lake of water which has bedrock underneath. And let me show you something. You see that big wall here? Well, actually, it's a giant pillar of the area which had that hole. And we actually can go around here, which is pretty cool. Something else interesting is how that hole actually looks like. So let's dig in. So this is how the hole looks like from the inside. And as you can see, it looks a bit like normal terrain again. It's not entirely flat, but we got some spillage from like the walls. We can also see that the monolith itself holds some caves, which is also pretty cool. So how rare is one monolith to get? Well, we actually got this data because of the Minecraft Discontinued features wiki. The wiki states that out of 10 seeds, 8 will have one in 10,000 blocks. That doesn't really sound hard to get, but it really is. Because remember, in InfDev and Alpha, it was impossible to sprint. So I've headed north for spawn to show you the next discontinued terrain feature, and that actually happens in exactly this version, 13W36A. Let me show you. We got some ocean that has no water, seemingly. But actually, if we get a little closer, we can see what's going on. Because we see there is a floating island, which did generate it. And we will see like huge sand walls. So believe it or not, these are actually mesa biomes, or currently known as badlands. So what happened with the generation then? Well, it's obvious that the red sand got replaced with normal sand because red sand didn't exist. But what happened with terracotta? Terracotta already existed for a few versions, and I'm not sure why this happened, but here's my estimated guess. So as you can see, there are like floating islands with trees on top of them. We got like also a bunch of water pools and some lava pools. And we even got some grass generating on top of it. So why am I pointing this out? Well, this has to do with the Minecraft terrain generation and how that works. So I'm not gonna go in depth on this, but basically how Minecraft terrain generation works is that it first generates everything in stone. And after that, it will turn that stone in, for example, grass, dirt, or in this case, terracotta. But since the name of terracotta was a bit complicated back then, being hardened clay, there may or may not be a typo in the code, which actually tries to generate hardened clay, but because it doesn't exist, the typo, it generates to air. So that's how these weird and wacky Badlands biomes came to be. Now we're gonna head to my final interesting weird terrain generation that I want to show you. And instead of heading north, we will be heading straight south. It's not that far from the pyramid. I stood AFK for a while, but yeah, the skeleton can't help but shoot me and horribly miss. Let's take him out of his misery. He doesn't have it, like... Finally! You're so annoying. I'm following for the next terrain discontinued feature, this road that I made to the pyramids. But actually, instead of going east, we will go straight south. Because if we go straight south, we will find our final terrain discontinued feature that I already spoiled on the thumbnail I made. Yeah, I'm one of those, and I'm so annoying for that. But yeah, let's pay a visit to that terrain. So while we're talking to the last place, I'm gonna talk a bit about it. And of course, I'm talking about the nether generated chunks inside of the overworld that you saw on the thumbnail. So this really holds a close space to my heart because I actually found this myself. And I got some help from Blue Crab with finding the exact version range. So this works in alpha server 0.2.2 until alpha server 0.2.3. And how this exactly works is because it wasn't possible in these servers to load multiple dimensions at once. So what Notch actually coded was that you could actually toggle this in the server.properties. There was this toggle called Hellworld, and you could turn this into true, and this would actually make it that every chunk will be loaded as another chunk. And these chunks were actually saved to the overworld folder. So that would mean that even if you turn the toggle off, you would still load those nether chunks. This is actually insane, like how we got these nether chunks in the overworld. And we can actually have like the old nether drain generation in the overworld. And there are other methods I know to get the nether into the overworld, but those are all in later versions and have some more cheaty methods to them. And this also in an early version, which had a few different generation features inside of it. For example, we will see that soul sand is differently generated. Let's see if we can make this jump. Yes, we can. So one thing to notice is that this is not actually a nether biome. As you can see, there are like creepers spawning in here, so we have to be really careful. And the reason why this is because in 1.2, all the biomes actually got reset. And even before 1.2, biomes constantly got reset. And that's also how like my spawn area became a swamp, which I'm not that happy about. I don't like the grass color, but I guess that's just the way how it goes. And here we can very well see like both sides, the left side and the right side. We here got on the left a giant ocean, while on the right side we can see like caves and water pouring out. And we could probably even spot some spawners and mineshafts if we look careful. So I really want to stay out of this place because like not all chunks around this nether area are loaded, and I want to keep that unloaded chunks for actually the 1.18 generation, because 1.18 generation tries to match with like the other terrain nearby, and I want to see in what that would result on the sides. Besides that, there's not really a whole lot of extra to see besides this, which already looks insane. So that were the 4 things I would really like to show you guys. And of course there are way more interesting terrain things in my world. For example, the glass pillars at the stronghold. But I want to keep those for later videos when we eventually come by those by accident. Besides that, I would really like to thank Puffingfish for helping me with the thumbnail of this video. So I started with this thumbnail, but I couldn't really settle myself on it. There was something wrong with it. And with the help of Puff, I went through a few different iterations and finally ended on this final one. A huge thanks to Puff. The next time, we're gonna do something different. We're not gonna view something from the past, but we are actually gonna do something else. Maybe getting a new unobtainable or building something. We'll see. This was it for now. Until next time.